welcome to the class. The first thing you need to do is you need to go to a plus students.com. You need to go to the website. Okay. Once you are at the website, what you need to do is you need to select math as your subject. You would select math as the subject. Your grade is grade 10. Okay. Grade 10. And the topic for today is, let's write down the topic. The topic is parallel and perpendicular lines. So we'll be studying different scenarios of parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel is they never intersect. Perpendicular intersect at right angles. Okay. The chapter number is, let me give you the chapter. Chapter number is 26. The chapter number is 26. And the lesson number is 3. And the name of the lesson for today is Transversal and naming transversal, in which we will name angle pairs, right? So we will look at what kind of angles are possible, right? So before doing anything, we need to see the 3 basic types of angles that are present here, right? So let's suppose if we have a pair of parallel lines, we're considering examples so that we can see what lines are there, right? If let's suppose this line number 1, is parallel to another line number 2, right? These two are parallel lines. If we have a line that is intersecting these lines, right, at a particular angle, okay? So the first case we have is, I'll just draw an arrow over here so that we know these two lines are a set of parallel lines. Arrow denotes that the lines would be parallel, okay? So we have a set of parallel lines. Welcome to the class, okay? Let's look at this. Okay, if we have a pair of parallel lines which are being intersected by another line, then we have a pair of angles in this case, okay? So this angle here would always be equal to this angle over here, okay? If we say this is angle A degrees, and this is B, right? Then we can say that the angle A is always equals to the angle B, and it is known as corresponding angles, okay? This thing is known as corresponding angles, okay? This is the first case where we know what are corresponding angles. Okay? It's just a quick review of what you already know, right? So now let's look at another case in which we have a pair of parallel lines which is being intersected by another line. Let's pick up this line, okay? And I would say, okay, 2 pairs of parallel lines which are being intersected. So let's see another scenario in which, okay, in the first case, what we need to remember is what we are looking at is, we are looking at a shape that represents F, okay? I'll just highlight over here. Whenever we are looking for a corresponding angle, we look for the alphabet F, okay? And F formation would give us a corresponding angle. We look for alphabet for F shape, right? In the second case, what we are looking at is alternate angles. We are looking at alternate angles. In case of alternate angles, what we can say is we look for a shape, look for a Z shape, Z formation, right? So where we can see a Z formation, we can say this line, and this line over here. That means these angles over here, this angle and this angle would be the same. If I say this angle was X and this was Y, we can say angle X is equals to angle Y because they both are alternate angles. Okay. So we have an idea now what alternate angles are, what are corresponding angles. Okay. There is only one more type. Let's look at that type. Okay. That is interior angles, right? So if we have a pair of parallel lines, if we have one more pair of parallel lines, let's suppose it's here, and we have another parallel line. Okay. In the corresponding, we were looking for a F shape, a shape that F is being formed. In alternate, we were looking for a shape that is Z is being formed. Okay. And the last one is interior angles. Interior angles. Okay. Let's see what shape would be looked for, right? We are usually looking for a C or a U shape. In this case, let's say if there was a line intersecting these two lines and these two lines were parallel lines to each other. Okay, so let's see what happens over here. When we are looking for a C shape or a U shape. Okay, so what happens over here is, can we say this is a C shape being formed over here? In this case, if we would mark the angles, if I would say this angle was A and this angle was B, right? Then the sum of the interior angles A plus B would always be equals to 180 degrees, right? Okay, so we need to remember this for the interior angles. So now we would look at three different types of angles over here. Corresponding angles when it's forming a shape F, an alternate angle that forms a Z, and interior angles would be the sum of interior angles is always 180 degrees, right? Let's go for the questions. Okay, let's go for grade 10, chapter 26, and the lesson number 3. Okay, the first question we have is, they're asking us, a shape is given, 4 options are given to us. We need to find the corresponding angles. Okay, so let's do with the first question. I'll just copy it over here. Okay. The question number 1 says SU and UX, right? That means they are parallel lines. They can have an arrow also on the top. SU and UX. VX, sorry. SU is a line. Okay, I'll just highlight the lines, the parallel lines. This is SU and VX. These two lines were parallel to each other, right? We need to find which angles are corresponding. So we need to look for the shape F, right? It says in the first part, it says, I'll just make a few copies of this so that we can do it on the side. Okay, 1 copy. Let's make at least 3 to 4 copies so that, because we have to do 4 of these, right? Copy paste, and you'll have a copy paste again, copy and paste. Okay, we'll look at all these 4 possibilities. So the first possibility we are looking at is STW and XWT. So where is STW? S, T and W. This is the angle STW, right? And XWT. X, W and T is this angle, right? So they're asking us, are these angles corresponding angles? But what we remember is, whenever we are looking for corresponding angles, we need to look for a shape F, right? This has to be the corresponding angle. So are these angles corresponding angles? No, right? The next one. The next one we have is, okay, STW, that is S, T and W. This angle goes with VWT. Where is V, W and T, right? These are not corresponding angles. They are interior angles because their sum would be 180, right? So again, moving on to the question. Let's look at the third option. Okay. STW, where is STW, this angle, and XWY, that is X, W and Y, this angle. Still not a, we cannot see a formation of F alphabet, right? So the last option we have is STW and V, STW, this angle, BWY, V, W and Y, right? So can we see a formation of F over here? Yes, we can, right? So in this case, when we go to the question, we can always highlight this point. This is this and this. We see a formation of F. That means this angle would always be equal to this angle. And this is correct. They are corresponding angles. The last option is the correct corresponding, right? This is the correct answer. Okay. Any questions till now? Do we have any question? We would say these are corresponding. Yes, over here. This. Otherwise, all three options were, the remaining three options were not corresponding. Okay. So let's take the next question. Let's look at the next example. In the next question, what they're asking us to do is we need to find the adjacent angles. Okay. Let's see. We had adjacent. Okay. We did not do adjacent. Let's do adjacent. I'll make 4 copies first so that we can utilize them. Okay, for the first copy, let's minimize so that we have enough space, because we need to do 4 options. And the third and the fourth, right? So this is our question number 2. They're saying GI and JL are parallel lines. That means these 2 vertical lines are parallel lines for us, right? So they're asking us which 2 pairs of lines would be adjacent angles. Okay, so let's see what can be for adjacent. If we are looking at the first option, okay, the term adjacent means that they are next to each other, right? Okay, so let's see over here which 2 angles are adjacent. Let's look at the first option, JKM GHK, right? Whereas JKM, this angle, and G, H and K, this angle. We know these 2 angles are not adjacent, right? They're corresponding, right? Okay. The next one. Can we say JKM, JKM and GHF? Let's suppose JKM is this angle, agreed? And GHF, G, H and F is this angle, right? They're not adjacent to each other because we are looking for adjacent angles, right? Adjacent means that two angles are next to each other, right? Adjacent to each other. So for the next option we have is JKM, JHK, right? Or IHK, right? It's IHK. So we pick up the next option and we say, I highlight with the same color that I'm making the angles with. So JKM, JKM, okay? And IHK, where is I, H and K? This angle. They're forming a Z, but they're not alternate angles, right? So we look at the last option. We say JKM, JKM is this angle. JK and H is this option. That means this angle and this angle, they both are adjacent angles. So yes, this is the true for adjacent angles. Option number 4. Okay. That's true for option number 4. Okay. So moving on further, let's try the next question and see what they're asking us. Okay, they're asking us to find the alternate interior angles. Okay. Let's see what our alternate interior angles would be. So question number 3. Okay. Let me just copy. Okay. Let me make copies of this so that we can do the working separately, not on the original diagram. 1, sorry, 2 copies done. And let's make 2 more copies so that we can do all 4 options over here. Okay, so these are the 2 options over here. In question number 3, it says SU and VX are parallel. The 2 horizontal lines are parallel lines, right? So we need to see which option is correct. The first option that we have is UTW and STR. Where is UTW, this angle, right? And STR. They are not interior angles, right? Okay, they're not. So the next one we have is UTW. Where is U, T, and W? This angle. VW. Where is V? V. Where is V? V, W, and T. U, T, W. Okay, we were looking at alternate interior angles. Yes, they are alternate interior angles, right? Because we know that if this was the angle, then this angle should be the same, right? Yes, they are. The next one we have is, let's see if there are more than one. The next one we have is UTW. This was this angle, and XW, XW and Y. No, they are not alternate interior angles, right? They would not be. Moving on further, We already find one option, that was option second. Let's look at the next one. Okay. The last one would be, if we would say UTW, UTR. UTW goes with UTR. No, they are corresponding angles, right? They're still not. So we have only one option in this case. That would be this UTW with VW, VW and T. Sorry, this angle. I made it incorrectly. This should have been over here, right? This angle. So these are alternate interior angles. My mistake. I drew it at the wrong place. So these two would be interior alternate. Let's look at the next question, what we have for the angles. Okay. Any questions up till now? If there are any questions, please let me know. Okay. Thank you. Let's move ahead with the next question. They're asking us supplementary angles. Okay. When we look at supplementary angles, let me just copy this. Question number 4. We look at supplementary angles. This is question number 4. Okay. Let's copy these angles over here. Sorry, copy paste. The first option, second, third, and fourth, right? We have these 4 options over here. Okay. So if we want to see which one is, let's start off with the last one first. Let's look at this option over here and say if, let's see if they are supplementary, yes or no. So we have K, J, K, L and J. Where is K, L, J? K, L, and J, this angle. And we have N, O, L, this angle, right? So these two angles are not supplementary, right? Okay, moving on further. The next one is, let's take this one. K, L, J. Where is K, L, and J? Yes, over here. And M, L, O, right? They're still not complementary. They alternate, right? Good. The next one we have is KLJ. Let's see, KLJ, this angle, and POQ. It's not forming an F, right? They are not supplementing each other. Still not the answer, right? And finally, we look at the first option, the final option, that is KLJ, and KLO, right? So that means these two angles were on a straight line summing up to 180 degrees. So what we can label over here is, if this is the first angle, then this is the second angle. That means the sum of these two angles would be 180. That means this is the correct option, right? Supplementary angles would sum up to 180 degrees. That's what we had to find over here. That this first option is the correct answer. Okay. Moving ahead with the next question. Are there any more questions? If there are any questions, please let me know. We'll do those options first. Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next question. Just give me a minute. I'll just copy the question and we'll have it on our screen with the 4 options we need to find it from. Okay, just a minute. Okay, question number 5. This is question number 5. And I'll make a copy of these. We are trying to find the corresponding angles now. 1 minute, please. I have a copy. Let's make 2 copies over here. Okay. Let's see what. Okay, we know when we are looking for corresponding angles, what we need to look for is we need to look for the shape F, right? That is the thing what we did at the beginning of the lesson, right? So let's go back to the corresponding angles and let's see what do we need to find. For question number 5, if we need to look for corresponding, right? So let's say the first option we have is the first question, okay? This, let's try to find these angles. K, where's K, J, and M. So this was the first angle, KJM, and IJM, I, J, and M, right? They are supplementary, but they're not, right? Corresponding. The next option we have is KJM. Where is K, J, and M? This was the angle LMO. LMO. They are not corresponding, right? It's not forming an F, right? It should be on this side. It's still not. Moving to the next. Can we say KJM? Where is K, J, and M? And L, M, and J? Are these corresponding angles? They're still not corresponding, right? They're alternate angles. And the last option we have is, must be this last option. Let's see whether it is or it's not. KJM, KJM, and N, M, and O. Yes, these 2 angles are given to us. So can we see a formation of an F over here? This line, this, and this. So we can see the formation of the alphabet F. And whenever we have that formation, we say, yes, it is a corresponding. Yes, this is corresponding. These 2 angles are corresponding, right? This is not, and this is not. The last option is corresponding for us. Moving ahead, let's see. The next question we have is, we need to find adjacent angles. Let me just copy the question. Just copy question number 6. Okay, let's enlarge and let's see. This is question number 6. Let me make a copy of these angles because we are looking at adjacent in this case. Let's minimize and paste. Okay, let's make 2 more copies because we have 4 options. So it's better to do 4 options separately, right? It would be very confusing. You don't have to do it because I'm explaining over here. I'm using different colors. Therefore, I'm using that, right? But you don't have to do that. You can always put dots on the diagram. This and this. Just use and always use a pencil on the diagram. Okay. Thank you. Starting with the last option. If it says y, x, u, where is y? Y, x, and u. Okay, this angle. V, U, X. V, U, and X. Are these adjacent angles? YX, YXU, and BUX. No, they are not adjacent angles, right? It's not adjacent. The next option we have is XYU, TUX. X, X, whereas X, Y, sorry, YXU and TUX, right? So these are alternate. This is not still not adjacent, right? For the third option we have is this YUX, whereas Y, X and U, YXU and YX and Z. This was Z, right? This is Z over here. YXZ, YXZ, sorry. This is YXZ and YXZ because this was Z. So the second angle we have is YXU and YXZ. The second angle is this, right? So they are adjacent, right? Because they are next to each other. So this angle is adjacent to this angle. Okay, let's look at the third option. If we have more than two angles which are adjacent, YXU, whereas YXU, this angle, and WXZ. No, they are not adjacent. They're not next to each other. They are interior transversal angles, right? So we look at the next question. Question number 7. Let me just copy the question. Do we have any questions in regarding this topic? Jason, we just did. The next question they're asking us is supplementary angles. Okay, let's try doing these supplementary. I am not going towards the test because all of these questions already have 4 options in them, right? So it's like doing the MCQs already. So you people can try the questions from the test because this, what we are doing is already having 4 options, right? So we are trying to find the correct answer in those options. Okay. The first option which we have is GHEIHJ, whereas GHEIH and J. Are they supplementary angles? No, they are not supplementary angles. Okay. The next option we have is GHEDEC. Let's look at GHE, right? GHE and DEC. No supplementary angles yet, right? This is still not supplementary. Moving on further to the next, GH, it says GHE, GHE, and IHE. This means this angle is supplementing this angle. Yes, that means this angle is supplementary to this angle. Okay. Looking at the fourth option, we can write a yes over here for this. Right, this is supplementary. And the last one would be GHE. We can say GHNE goes with FEH, FE and H. They're not supplementary. So we have the correct option is option number GHE and IHE, right? Any other questions? Okay. Let's do one question, then we'll go to the test, okay? So we'll do a few questions from the test as well. So the next question says, You need to find the corresponding angles. Question number 8. Question number 8 says find the corresponding angles in this question. Okay, let's make a few copies and let's see which one is the correct answer. So if I have these options with me, let's make a copy. Okay, the first option, the second, third and fourth. Let's make 2 more copies, third and the fourth. Okay, let's make a separator so that it does not confuse us. Question number 8. What they're asking us to find the corresponding angles in given diagram where J, L, and M, O are parallel lines. Okay, let's do the first option. O and K, where is O and K and J, K, N? J, K, and N. Right? They are interior, alternate. Okay, O and K. Let's look at the next one. Still not, we cannot find O and K. We'll say this is not. The next one was O and K. O and K. L, K, N. L, K, N. They're still not corresponding angles. Moving to the third option, we have O, N, K, L, K, I. O, N, K, L, K, I. Right? We see a formation of F. Yes, we do. We see a formation of F in which the given angles were this and this, right? This was I. That means this is corresponding. This was not. This is. Let's look at the last option. O and K, M and P. O and K, M and P. They're still not alternate angles, corresponding angles. So the option O and K, L, K, I are the corresponding angles, right? Agreed? Any questions on this? Please let me know if there are any questions so that we could cater the questions first, right? Moving ahead with the next question, I'll just copy the question on the screen so that it's more understandable. We again need to find corresponding angles, but the diagram is a bit different. Okay, question number 9. Okay, the question number 9 says this. Let's say this is question number 9. I'll just copy the diagram for our own convenience. For our own convenience, we are not doing it on the same shape, right? We want to make copies so that our original diagram stays as it is supposed to be. Okay, because I don't have a pencil, I'm doing it on a board, electronic board, so erasing and everything would be too much for you to understand. So that's why I'm making 4 copies. So the question says which the 2 parallel lines QS and TV are 2 parallel lines and a line PW is intersecting it. They've given us 4 pairs of lines and they're asking which angles would be corresponding, right? Okay, let's look at the first option. If the first option we have is this, let's see if they are corresponding, yes or no. Okay, so we have VUW, VUW, SRP, SRP. No, they're not corresponding, right? There's no formation of F. The next one we have is VUW, VUW, and QRP. Still no formation, right? There's not, this is not, okay? The next option we have is VUW, right? This angle is given to us, and VU and R. This is the second angle, right? They are not corresponding. They would be supplementary angles, right? So we say this is not still. And the last option we have is VUW SRU. Yes, we're saying that we have these two angles where this can be formed, right? So we see the formation of F and we say, yes, these two angles are corresponding angles, right? Okay, great. Let's see one more. Let's try one more question. I would wait for you people to give me the answer also. Okay. We again need to find the corresponding angles, right? They're asking us back-to-back corresponding. Okay, let's see. In question number 10, in this particular question that's given to us, this is question number 10. And I'll just make a copy of this diagram. Meanwhile, you try to read the question. I'll just come back to the question once I'm done with copy pasting. Okay. The question says, okay, is it the same question we had over here? No, it's different, okay? So we make a line over here just to make the partition. Okay. So the question says we need to find the corresponding angles. JKI, let's look at JKI and JKN. JKI and JKN not corresponding because we don't have formation of an F, right? The next one we have is JKI ONP. JKI ONP. No formation of F. Still no. The next one we have, what about the next two? Which two options would be correct out of the next two? Can you give me the option JKI LKN or JKI MNK? I'll highlight them with the green and maybe one with the red. Okay. This with the red. Okay. Let's try to find which one of this option is correct. Can you help me out? I would want you to help because now we are down to two options only. So out of these two options, one has to be the answer, right? So let's try. You give it a try. Think. Mark it on the screen like JKI. So where would be JKI? JKI would be this angle. And L, K, and N is this. I'm not giving you whether it's correct or not. I'm just marking the angles. The next one is J, K, and I, and M, N, and K. We have to look in the last two options which we have to look for the formation of the alphabet F, right? Can we see a formation of alphabet F over here? No, we cannot. But let's look at the last option. Can we see a formation of the alphabet F in this case? Let's see. I'm doing it on the main diagram. Can we see the formation of F over here? Whenever we have corresponding angles, we try to form the alphabet F. So can we say these two angles are forming a letter F, right? So what we can say is the last two, J, K, I, M, N, K, yes, they are corresponding angles, whereas J, K, I, and L, K, N, these two angles are not corresponding. Okay, so what we did was we had one question which had 4 options to it, and we tried finding the correct answer. We labeled all the angles and we tried finding whatever was required in the question. Okay, please do complete the remaining questions. Okay, you can always go through the video, have a review, and attempt the remaining questions. Okay, thank you so much. Take care. Best of luck.